pickles inside of a football, smothered in cow poop. You are my friend.
Imagine if the world you lived in, the space you breathed in, and the freedom you played in was suddenly taken away. Imagine if the only person who knew how you felt was a boy who felt it too.
You really like him, huh? Yeah. Gotcha.
In a world where beauty is held captive,
Miss your family?
it takes a special friend
Willie doesn't have a problem with me. Yeah. We appreciate each other.
Looks like Willy's got himself a soulmate.
to set you free.
What's the matter?
Whale's still not performing. We're getting deeper into this.
He was too big and too old to be caught in the first place.
Hey, the whale's worth more dead than alive.
They tried to kill him.
Warner Brothers proudly presents
Let's free Willie. He's got family out there. I heard him.
the most unexpected friendship of the year.
I gotta look out for Willie, and I gotta do what's best for him. Understand?
If we don't get Willy into water soon, he's gonna die. Nobody steals a whale.
We gotta hurry. He's not doing so good.
Don't let that whale get away!
Go, Willie, go.
The greatest adventure of the summer. Free Willy.
When a boy learns that a beloved killer whale is to be killed by the aquarium owners, the boy risks everything to free the whale. Does he risk
Wow.
everything? What is he risking? Just his
Nothing.
job, right?
No, not literally nothing that he didn't care about.
He's putting his parents on the hook. His parents would be the ones that go to everyone else would be the ones to
foster
be
parents.
Yeah,
that
anybody
want
else.
nothing to do with him.
Yeah. I think as I heard that tagline and didn't think that really did it justice, so I gave it another spin on it, which is another white guy breaks the law and his community service endears him to a dolphin with a big brain who cannot smell. That's more based off of how whales are dolphins, and they
So
a lot of notes on him.
I saw this quote: "Two worlds separated by water and land come together in this heartwarming adventure about the friendship between a troubled young boy and an orca whale." My plot described poorly is a homeless boy realizes a whale in captivity has it worse than him. And that's why he wants to be his friend.
And that's why they are friends. That's their common ground. So 1993,
Yep.
rated PG, which I think holds. I didn't make too many notes of swears or
No,
anything.
pretty
Was
solid.
Yeah, held the line. An hour and 51 minutes. It's long.
A little lengthy.
A little lengthy for a kid,
Yeah.
especially for a kids movie. Budget $20 million. Did you see what it grossed?
No.
This movie absolutely crushed. It was just a hair behind Jurassic Park when it came out.
Get out.
$154 million. This movie spawned 3 other
Yeah,
sequels along
I
with the
think so.
TV series. This movie was hot.
I remember seeing it in theaters.
Yeah.
And I remember crying in theaters.
Yeah.
And I remember my friend next to me going, "Why are you crying?" And I'm like,
Did we watch the same movie? Are you kidding me? Do you have a heart?
Look at this. And I will say,
154
too,
million.
like, when I first started playing it and Willy's making the, like, immediately,
Yeah.
the boys are like, "Turn it off."
They immediately just
They're
said,
like, "No, no."
they weren't on board
The
at all.
whale was crying, and they're like, "Why is he crying?" Well, because he said, "Yeah, turn it off."
I do have some notes on the whale cries because it does feel like there's the actual whale noises and then there's whatever is going on at certain points that like, yeah.
And does a whale actually cry like that?
I tried looking it up.
I don't think-
Nothing I saw
think
sounded
they
remotely
do.
like that. So I felt
don't-
like they missed. They had some ADR. Just be like, listen, hey Tim, in the give us your best whale. Yep, perfect. We need to.
It
Just
might have been embellished a bit. And
Yeah.
I've seen down Periscope, so I've seen whales and heard the noises. I don't think so.
no. So IMDb gives it a 6 out of 10.
Yeah. I am fine with that.
I'm fine with it.
Rotten Tomatoes?
For as much of a success as it was, I thought it would have a higher IMDb rating. On the flip side, Rotten Tomatoes kicks it up a bit to 71%.
Yeah, and I am okay with both of those.
Mm-hmm.
Again, it's a 90s movie.
Yeah.
6 seems to stand true.
Yeah, that's these movies we're doing have a common theme, which
It's
is
like between
5.5
5.5 and 7.2
Nothing
or
is
something
absolutely
in
knocking
that
it out of the
range.
park. Yeah.
No.
So our good friend Roger Ebert had some
yes,
words.
Please.
Raj?
Give it to me, Raj.
3.5 out of 4 stars.
Wow.
3.5. Free Willy tells the story of a boy and his whale, and if that sounds like an unwieldy adaptation of the sturdy old formula about a boy and his dog, it is. Whales are not as charismatic as dogs, not as easily trained, and cannot be hugged. Yet.
That's true.
Yeah. Free Willy works its way around the physical reality of its animal lead and somehow becomes one of the summer's best family pictures. Free Willy has a kind of gentle sweetness that I found very appealing. It's about change, about a young boy discovering himself, and about adventure. And he goes on to just speak more highly about it. He says, it's more accessible and certainly less frightening than Jurassic Park, and it's smart enough to keep older viewers involved too.
We're comparing Free Willy to Jurassic Park
Yes.
in that.
In that they're popular movies that came out around the same time with animals in them.
Got it. However, one is about dinosaurs out of control.
Killer whale.
Both captive animals, I get.
Misunderstood. Not understanding the limitations involved. Yeah.
Okay. That's a stretch.
Mr. Ebert, Roger enjoys it.
I do like that he points out that you can't hug a whale.
Yeah.
However, this movie won several awards. Did you see that?
I did not.
Including Best Kiss.
Between the boy and the whale.
Jason James Richter and Kiko the whale.
Okay.
Which in hindsight, a little weird. I'm
Yeah.
sure it was in jest.
Mhm.
I think it was like MTV movie Awards or whatever. I think it was, yes. So 7 wins. MTV Movie Awards, Best Movie Song. Okay, yeah. Best Breakthrough Performance, Jason James Richter, which, yeah, after seeing this movie, you would have to think like, okay, this kid is going to be the standout and like just sign him up for 3-4 more movies.
Mm-hmm.
It's in the bank. Doesn't matter the plot. We got it.
Yeah, this was a home run after this, it seemed like.
And I don't think he was in anything else after this, was he?
I think he might have been in one of the other sequels. And then
that's
that
true.
was about a wrap.
Yes, he was. I think he was in both the 2 and 3, but One Hit Wonder, you know.
Again, another maybe trend in these like popular 90s kids movies where you think, well, there they go, and then they don't.
And maybe he just got older or something, so they're like, well, he's not cute anymore.
Yeah.
He's got acne and facial hair. I don't know.
Happens to the best of us.
I'm still waiting.
It's still coming. Anything before we dive in? Anything you want to touch on before we just get right into it?
The only thing I would say is did not realize as an adult how much they harp on like this is wrong having animals in captivity. I think that was way ahead of its time.
Absolutely.
Because The Cove, have you seen that?
I have.
Oof. So 2009, that came out in 2009.
Yeah.
And then Blackfish in 2013.
Yeah.
So 20 years before Blackfish, essentially the same. I mean, the documentary form of Free Willy.
Right. Yeah.
Kudos to Disney for being like, listen, people aren't focusing on this. We got to touch on SeaWorld. And I have some facts about SeaWorld later that are not great.
Can't wait. SeaWorld not looking good?
I would say no.
Color me some. Yeah. So, all right, let me just jump right in by saying we started off, one of our notes was it's an hour and 51 minutes. I think we could easily chop 20 minutes off of this in just the whale B-roll alone. Like, we get a lot. You're getting if you're a fan of Planet Earth, if you're a fan of nature shot, you're going to get your fill. The first, I think, 10 minutes is just whale B-roll.
Straight up.
And I think the last 10 minutes is whale B-roll, and then pepper some in the middle. So
right.
If we're giving notes
cut
on
out
the movie,
the ends.
you could save yourself. You could get that to that hour and a half mark.
I did note too, one of the boats that catches Willy, did you see the name?
No.
It's Pequod, and it's one of your favorite pizza places, which I blame you solely for Willy being captured. Also, it's the name of the whaling ship in Moby Dick, so it was a little shout out to Moby Dick. So missed that as a kid, obviously.
Yeah, right over my 12-year-old head.
But as an adult, I blame you.
Yeah, that's fine. from the beginning, I'm already starting to tally up questions. The first being, does clapping paddles at a whale work? Do you think that's a sound without fail multiple times in the movie?
They do it in the cove. That's how they scare the dolphins into going back because of the echolocation, I think, and everything.
So
they're very sensitive to sounds. I honestly, when I saw that, I was like, "Holy crap! All right, these guys, Disney, and these guys, they know how to catch whales.
they know how to catch them."
I'm gonna say, yeah. Okay. I think that I've never caught a whale, but if I'm
not yet,
if I'm going for it, I'm gonna make a heck of a lot of noise with maybe some oars or some poles. I haven't decided yet, but I think that works.
Yeah, that holds up. Okay, it seems like. What I noticed with this movie, you get some of our 90s kids' favorites. You're not necessarily basing it in reality. This felt
very real.
Like almost like you said, like there's these documentaries on it. Like it seemed like they knew their shit with this. Like they weren't making it. I'm going to even
say this. So when the kids are running rampant through the streets and they're like, man, I'm starving. Let's get some food. And they happen upon a catering truck. And there's a tray of food that she sets into the back. I don't know what's in it. Sandwiches, meatballs, something in a silver tray.
Yep.
It's tempting. Then there's a giant sheet cake for a 20th or 25th year anniversary. And they're like, yeah, we're grabbing that.
Yeah.
That seems like something that a group of kids would do for sure.
Yeah, 100%.
The back of a van, there's a giant sheet cake. And they're like,
food, get the cake.
Yes, we're going to take that, please.
Yeah, a scene featuring... the girl Gwenny, I remember her as one of the kids from Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead.
Oh,
so nice little connect to childhood as well. But that was one of the notes I had. Was like, we got no plastic forks. Like, listen, I know times can be tough, but we're just eating this sheet cake with our bare hands. Yeah. I know these kids aren't washing their hands.
Well, Perry has it on. It looks like a shoebox, a corner of a shoebox. My problem is he puts ketchup on the cake.
I must have missed that.
I don't know what he's doing.
Kids are wild.
I even remember as a kid, like, that's a questionable move. Listen, I love ketchup, but
I definitely sneered when Charlotte used to dip her blueberries in ketchup. So there might be something to it.
That has a skin. It doesn't penetrate into the crevices.
Yeah, ketchup's gonna ruin your cake every time.
Every time.
Yeah,
that's a well-known fact.
So throughout the movie, I constantly am looking at the main character Jesse. He is 100% a mix of Sean Astin's character in Goonies, the main character, and then also Charlie Bucket from Willy Wonka. Like he is the perfect mix of the two. Like he's got the curly hair, he's got the facial expressions of Sean Astin. Like he's like.
So you just mean physically?
Physically, yeah. Okay. And one of the notes that I found about casting him, I don't know how much of a deep dive you did into that.
None.
They saw 4,000 actors for Jesse. They considered.
That's it.
They took in 4,000, whittled it down to 12, and picked him. So keep in mind, this was not like the producer's son. Like he was their guy through and through, and for good reason, I think.
He did well.
Yeah,
I'm fine with him.
Mm-hmm. Also, side note, the main kid from Child's Play was one of the 12,000 who auditioned.
4,000.
4,000, thank you. 4,000 that whittled down to 12, yes.
Wow.
So even he didn't cut it. Even Chucky's
get
nemesis.
Out of here.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So the kids, they ransack the truck. They get their sheet cake.
Yep.
I note, first of all, that why would I remember this as a kid? But Michael Madsen is the dad.
Yes.
Excellent.
That was one of mine. There were a few things. And I
enjoyed it thoroughly.
Okay, so Michael Madsen's in this. Holy crap, forgot about that. Then, not only that, but do you know who the sidekick is for Dial?
No.
He is the Jump to Conclusions Matt guy from Office
Space. Yes, you're right. Yeah, I wrote it down. Wiskowski or whatever. I wrote his name down. Yeah.
And you can kind of tell it's him, but all I can see is like a Jump to Conclusions Matt.
100%. He has no mustache, so it took me a minute, but yes. Yeah.
He looks different.
Yeah.
And then Dwight is Bubba from Forrest Gump.
I lost my mind. Hold on, I gotta scroll down. Holy shit, Dwight is Bubba.
Yes. And I think
it hit me in probably the same way. Like
I think I kind of remembered when I saw Forrest Gump for the first time that like this guy looked familiar, and then seeing this movie, I'm like, that's Bubba.
So you knew by sight, like saw him, and you're like, that's Bubba.
His speech, I think, helped me too.
That was the thing that got me, his voice. I was like,
Yeah,
it took me a while. It was
this
floating around
sounds
my head.
familiar.
I was like, yeah,
Right.
who is this?
Right. Like from
Blew
a
my
dream
mind.
where you're
Yeah.
like, this happened before, but in a different way.
Yep. Blew my mind.
100%.
Yep.
Bubba.
Yeah.
Holy hell.
Yeah. Again, some great Easter eggs to stumble upon. Yeah. I thoroughly enjoyed that as well. But Michael Madsen is the dad. He brought me a lot of joy. Like, I think there are times where I feel like he's really taking the role seriously, and there's times where like he doesn't give a single shit about it. Like,
he like openly says like, "I'm fine, just us two. I don't know. We have this kid here."
Listen,
So he plays like the mom is. This is such a stereotypical '90s thing. Like the mom is all in. Like, okay, sweetie, like just make yourself at home, and he's like, "Whatever, man. Like, what are we working with here? Like, come on."
He even talks on the side and says, "Look, let's get straight here. Like, what do you need? I'll take care of you. Like, let's cut a deal."
But then at the same time, Jesse throws a baseball through their window.
Yeah.
I would lose my mind.
Yeah, Jesse's a prickly pear. I
And
wrote
he's like,
that down as well.
"Oh, I see you open your present." So like, there are times where he's cool.
Yeah, he's
but
got heart.
For a lot of it, he's just like, "Whatever, man."
Yeah.
Like, why are you here?
I will say, I know Jesse's gone through a lot, right? I'm not going to minimize his emotions or
I
feelings.
assume.
But another note I wrote was, holy shit, what a setup he's walking into. This
Best view in the house.
Great house, incredible view. He's decked out with some Nikes and new clothes. Like, the parents are trying. It's not like, here you go, here's a sleeping bag, deal with it. Like, they're trying here. So
They are.
I understand.
We
you've
got
gone
you
through
a present.
Well, I understand
Which
you've gone
be
through a lot, Jesse.
grateful.
Try, meet us halfway too.
And like eating mashed potatoes and a full meal. And
Yeah.
I mean, sure, maybe he hasn't eaten in a while, but
Sure.
so Michael Manson's like, "Oh, dig in."
Yeah.
Oh.
I have a kind of a repeating theme of like, Jesse's upset. Damn, Jesse, take it easy, man. Like, he's really going at it hard. But again, he's had a rough pass. I'm trying to give him the benefit of the doubt.
He's playing hard to get.
Yeah.
Maybe a little too hard.
Yeah. And this, something that we may come to later, so just kind of like a general thesis of this movie. To me, it's like, I feel like this movie is almost like doubles back on itself, because it's supposed to be a commentary on like, we need to get Kiko out of here, his living conditions and stuff. But also the conditions, they're actually doing those conditions in the movie. So like, I feel like I don't know how to quite describe it, in that it's like, it's a commentary on bad conditions and we need to help this whale, but they're actually doing those bad conditions to the actual whale in that movie.
Right.
So it's like,
okay, so that's the first thing that I find problematic with
Yeah.
this. This movie brought to light the conditions of the actual whale actor. Are we calling the whale an actor?
Yeah.
So the actual conditions were that, and that the tank was too small.
Right.
It was too warm, chlorinated water,
Mm-hmm.
and so the whale was having issues on its pectoral fins and everything.
Yeah.
Like, it was getting
you could see,
a rash, essentially.
here's the thing. Marine biology was my minor, not my major.
Okay.
He's lifting those fins up. Underneath his fins don't look good.
Doesn't look normal.
The top fin
Yeah.
flopped over.
No,
He's not
not
he's
good.
not looking great.
Not good.
No. So here's this
So-
movie, like you said, it's like, it's trying to bring to light this
Right.
thing, but also it's like I'm trying to tell you about saving cats while I'm like punching a cat. Like,
Yes. Like, hey, this is what you shouldn't do. See, everybody?
hey, man,
don't do this.
Stop really punching the cat. You could have just told me.
So a custom tank was built at the Oregon Coast Aquarium in 96, and Kiko was flown there. In July 2002, he was released into the wild after spending 22 years in captivity.
Wow.
So they didn't even release him after this movie until...
They took him out of jail for the movie and then put him right back in
And
the
they're
jail.
like, all right, back you go. So yeah, let's make a movie about releasing a whale, but not you.
We're not
Just
really
the character you're playing. And then he didn't fully adapt to the wild, and he finally died in December 2003. The producers auditioned 23 orcas for the role of Willy. 21 of them belonged to SeaWorld, which I want to know where the other two belong
Right.
to. And then they declined the offer to have their orcas for movie work after they were unimpressed with the script's message, and at one point they requested a new ending.
Listen,
Like, this puts us in a bad light. You're not going to use our whales unless you change the end. Maybe he's happy where he is. Did you ever think about that? Maybe it's more dangerous out in the wild. He's safe.
This is one of those times that time traveler needs to come in at me and go, listen, SeaWorld, you're not going to look great in the future anyways. Just let it go.
Cut your losses.
This is the least of your worries.
Cut your losses.
You don't know what's coming for you. Yeah. Yeah. I feel like it was like unaware of it being its self-commentary on itself. Like
100%. Yeah.
It was wild. It's a trip, man. But yeah, so one of the thing that jumped me into that note was just, I like how they were concerned with Willy's food, him eating or not eating, or the kind of food he eats, but not the 20-foot pool he's living in currently. Like there was, there was this back and forth where I was like, okay, like we're missing the point. But Jesse passing out and nearly drowning in the pool, it was pretty bleak. It was pretty dark.
Yeah.
Tones of Pinocchio drowning in the water. Like I was like, damn, like we're getting into this thing. Like we're not pulling punches.
I kept thinking of Blackfish.
Yeah.
Just like the trainer going under the water and the whale pulling her back down. I'm like, ooh, this went well for you, Jesse.
Yeah.
So be grateful.
This movie again is like some of these movies we're watching. They're silly. They're goofy. This is not one of them. Like this is dark, serious, touching on real issues.
There's some comments that are like in jest.
Yeah.
But it is not.
Like there are lines that are like, this isn't not funny at any point, but this is, of the movies we're watching, easily the most serious and like,
oh, for sure.
Totally.
It's like a drama kids movie.
Yes.
Like a
Yeah.
serious drama kids movie.
And to your point, you said you remember going and getting emotional and seeing it. Like there's a reason.
Full-blown tears.
There's a reason.
Yeah.
But again, like, so there is the plot with Kiko. There's the plot with the whale, but there's also Jesse. He's torn. He's sad. He's dealing with these parents that are trying for him. I mean, he even says at one point, "I'm not your son." Like they're really going through it themselves.
We know. Jesse.
Yeah, loud and clear.
Thanks, guy.
Like he's chucking baseballs through the window, like you said. Like he's getting it on multiple levels. It's emotional. But some things that ended up pulling me away from it again are those damn whale noises that are definitely not a whale.
It can't be. It can't be.
There's not a chance.
Did you see what the original script was?
No.
In the original script, Jesse was a mute 10-year-old living with nuns who didn't speak until the end of the movie when he finally shouts, "Free Willy," when Willy jumps over the rocks.
Wow.
That's his first time that he
So you're
speaks.
telling me that movie could have been darker?
Way dark. Like you're saying, oh, this is kind of a drama,
Yeah.
like not very upbeat.
Strap in.
A mute living with nuns. And finally, I mean, maybe that would be like at the end, that's his moment where you're
Yeah.
like, oh, he can talk.
Yeah.
But to get there, that's a rough drive.
Hour and 45.
Right. And then, he learned to speak. Good for him.
I will say, though, if you thought you would have cried then, like, I imagine that moment being even like,
Thank
absolutely
God it didn't
losing.
happen.
I was already a mess. Like, I didn't need more emotions.
No, I couldn't handle that.
Yeah. But to get on the lighter side, because there's a lot of dark, there's a lot of heavy. There are some lighter things. There's Tom from Office Space as the sidekick. The main bad guy, Dial, is from Total Recall Starship Troopers. Enjoyed that.
What is Dial a nick? What a terrible name.
Yeah, it's awful. I kept thinking I misheard the name. I was like, oh,
right.
Well, oh no, it's Dial.
And they don't say Mr. Dial. It's not like
no.
It just seems like, well, it's Dial.
Yeah, like the soap.
Okay,
He's Dial.
Good for you.
One of the first things that stood out to me as a funny thing that I actually laughed at was, so Dad and Jesse are having like a heart-to-heart. They're in his office, and he's showing him pictures of the car.
Yeah.
And he's saying, that was his first
Greenwood.
love.
His name's like Dan Greenwood or something.
Okay. Yeah, because the last name's Greenwood.
Yeah.
But he tells Jesse at one point that he lost his first love, and that you can't basically have
You can't have two loves.
Yeah. And I said, you can't own a car and have a wife, Glenn. You can't own a
there you
car
go.
and have a wife, Glenn. Like, come on,
Yeah.
guy. Let's get it together. Like, I know you're a car guy, but take it easy.
Yeah, he's leaning into that hard.
Yeah, that stereotype is just like,
Once you get married, your life's over.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
basically what he's saying.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm lucky if I get a room in our house.
Yeah.
I don't even get a car, Jesse.
Yeah. And I think it's in that same conversation, or maybe it's a little later on, where Glenn just flat out says to Jesse, "Your mom's not coming back." And I just had this thought, like, could you just said, I mean, maybe not your mom is coming back, but just not say your mom's not coming back. Like, you're really,
Like, that might be tough.
Jesse's already on the edge here.
Yeah.
Like, this may not be the time to lay it down to him.
Again, I don't think Glenn was planning on being a dad.
That's true.
I think he was
That's fair.
coerced into it by his wife.
Yeah.
And you can tell because he does not approach Jesse with kid gloves. He's
Right.
just like,
That's
listen,
true.
man, this is the
I'm just
real
playing it
world.
real.
Here's
Yeah.
what's going on. I fix cars for a living.
Right. Just a car guy.
I don't have time to mess with emotions.
And right before Jesse throws the baseball through the window, I should have wrote down what they were saying, but Glenn and Annie's fight is absolute nonsense. Like, it is, I don't think they wrote a script for that part. I think they're just like, just pretend you're fighting, because it was literally like no actual points were being made. It's like, come on. Like,
I think he says, I'm fine, just you and me. I don't know why the kid's here. Like, whoa.
Yeah.
Your house is not soundproof.
Yeah,
Like,
he's
you
just
have to know in some capacity he can hear you or at least get the gist of what you're saying.
Yeah.
He does not seem to care.
Yeah.
And then they rush upstairs like, are you okay?
Right.
What do you think happened? He heard you saying you don't want him in the house? Do you think that wouldn't affect him negatively? He might
This
be a
kid's going
bit
through a lot.
bothered.
Yeah.
He just had cake with ketchup not too long ago.
Take it easy on the poor guy. He's going to have diabetes when he's older. One of the things, aside from, Kiko's not looking so good, that's, we're getting into some dark territory with Jesse.
Rest his soul.
Rest in peace. Perry, Jesse's friend, seeing him smoke cigarettes made me very uncomfortable. I have not seen just a child
Right.
in a movie just ripping cigs. So I was like, oh my, like,
Perry looks like hell.
he does. He doesn't look so good.
Not
it's
great.
It's because he's smoking. I mean, how long has he been smoking for at this point?
Probably. I mean, I don't know how old he is, but if he's like 15, 16.
He may start when he was
Probably
8
like
or
13.
Yeah, 8 or 9. Marlboro could listen. I've
They
watched.
recruited him early.
I've watched Thank You for Smoking. Like, I know these cigarette companies get in early. They want you early. So, Perry's not looking so good.
And I think they had to lean into it at the beginning, like Jesse's the cute one. That's how he's getting money from people, which I thought I remembered them commenting on that. I don't remember that this viewing, but I thought I remembered watching it as a kid that they make a comment like, oh, you got a bunch of money because like you look younger, you look cute.
Yeah.
And maybe I made that up in my head, but
could be.
Perry does not look great. I would not be giving him money. Like, all right, guy, get out of here.
You and your schemes that you're trying to whisk me away on, like, maybe I won't trust you. But to what we were saying before, there's some heavy, but there's also some light. And one of the light is, I believe Dial says this to possibly Tom Smithkowski, the Willy show. It'll make money. And that, my friend, is what we're all about. It's like, all right, right on the nose, man.
We got it.
You're already wearing a suit. You're already
convertible.
Do you know who the casting choice they originally wanted for Dial was? Because just look at him and think of the person that they were trying to mimic exactly. This was like, you didn't get to date the girl you wanted, so you found her exact twin, Jack Nicholson.
I was gonna say
Jack Nicholson. Jack Nicholson turned it down because it wasn't enough money.
Okay, well.
And
good
now,
for him.
And now he
seems
missed
to be
out.
doing all right.
He missed out on the opportunity.
What could
of a
have
lifetime.
been? We could have known his name. We don't even know who Jack Nicholson is now.
And
imagine.
And those producers went, listen, we don't have Jack anymore. You look like Jack. Can you do your best Jack impression?
Okay, can you picture Jack Nicholson in a Disney movie?
Yeah.
We already have Joe Pesci in Home Alone. Like curse. I cannot picture Jack Nicholson.
No, not a chance. Yep. So if you ever get hints or notes of Jack Nicholson in Dial's performance,
a little bit,
you would know why not. Also, they couldn't come up with a better name for the show than The Willy Show.
Not good. Not good.
I understand sometimes simple is best, but The Willy Show feels like you didn't even try. That was the first.
No.
Hey, anyone got a name for this? The Willy Show. Okay, run it. Make
and
the
no
signs.
one's gonna
Let's
know
go.
who's Willy.
Who is
Doesn't
Willy?
make sense.
Right.
No.
Exactly.
Yeah, marketing team fail.
Right. And my note. So then, as we get deeper into the movie, I'm picking up on this SeaWorld-ness of it.
Okay.
And one of my notes to what we said earlier was just, I love that SeaWorld saw this, had umbrage with the movie, and not that it's doing the exact same thing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that's why they were bothered.
You think they were just like,
yeah, like,
a little too on the nose, guys.
Hitting close to home.
I mean, we're not at fault here. You guys appear to be doing
totally
something
different.
wrong.
Well, maybe that's why they had to call it, what was it, the Willy Show?
Yeah.
Because if they're like, it's Ocean World.
Yeah.
Like, if it's just too much
Right.
of what they do.
Yeah.
My question is with Lori Petty. So if she is so good at her job, why does Jesse immediately get better results? He's a homeless kid that's never been
Is
around
she
a
so
whale.
good at her job? Do you think do they say about her like she's one of the best?
Well, she said she wants to go back to school and get her master's or something.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, she's the expert.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know what Randolph's credentials are,
Right.
but she seems to be the head honcho. Like, she's the one there.
More so than a 12-year-old should be.
I would assume. And then he's just like, oh no, have you considered this?
Step aside,
and she's
ma'am.
like, oh shit, no.
I've been working here all these years studying. You know what? You got it.
He likes salmon. That's his chocolate. Have you tried giving it to him? Oh, no, I haven't.
Listen,
what a
sometimes
brilliant idea.
You're too close to a project. You need to walk away from it, get fresh eyes on it. And Jesse he was that set of fresh eyes.
He nailed it.
Yeah. But Jesse's first performance leading the show, full-grown adults, again, not the first time we've seen this in the movies we've been talking about. Full-grown adults booing kids will never not be funny to me. Like, what hate do you have in your heart that, like, no matter how bad a show is, wouldn't you just out of like kindness just try to clap to make them feel better? No. I paid money to see Willy. Boo, 12-year-old kid. Boo you.
Also, what kids do you know that a show is going on and they're not up watching it? They're underneath pounding on the glass.
Yeah.
Their parents aren't just like, hey, come up to your seats. I paid $50 for you to
get
sit
your
here.
ass up here
You're not going to
and
be
boo this kid with
down
me.
in the trenches. Come up here.
And scaring this whale to death. Yeah, no issues.
Mission accomplished.
No notes. Boos from up top, screams from down below. It's a shit show all around.
It sure is.
Yeah. But then you get the turn where Tom, but that's just who he is, Tom Smigowski,
yeah,
Space, feels the water from the leak. So that's when he hatches his plan. Like, I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna crack this open, and then this Kiko's gone for.
That's right.
What's more heinous, having that notion and that idea and that plan, or Tom feeling the water from the leak and then eating his food with that same hand?
Oh, the popcorn?
Gross.
Yeah, I did note that. The fact that I know what he was eating, yes. So yeah, he feels the water.
Doesn't
coming
wipe his
down,
hand off. Just snarf.
Like, I'm gonna have some.
You know what? I've got a great plan. It has nothing to do with hygiene. Hygiene aside, great plan.
This feels like water,
right?
And now, popcorn. Well, he was hungry,
and you know that water could be salty, so maybe it just lends itself right.
Yeah, it's like butter on popcorn.
Fine, Tom. Stricken
His
from the record.
His name is Wade in the movie. Thank you.
He will never be anything but Tom.
No.
But again, I get back to, we get later on, Jesse still, like, we're probably a good hour into this movie. He is still just not vibing with the Greenwoods. That's when Bubba comes up and talks to him and pulls him aside and he goes, screw the Greenwoods. Again, they're right there.
And he's kicking this garbage can off its hinges.
Yeah, they're right there. Just like he was just upstairs.
Right.
They're literally like.
All right. Well, then I take back what I said about Michael Madsen. You know what? Jesse had it coming. Yeah. He's kicking this garbage can and okay.
Screw the Greenwoods. Yeah. What did they give me? A house?
Yeah.
Clothing.
Only everything.
They're trying for me. They're actually putting in the effort.
A bike?
Yeah. Screw them. And it's at that point in the movie that I wrote down, holy shit, Dwight is Bubba. So that's at that point that it finally came.
Clicked.
Yeah, that's when it happened. That's when I Googled, who is this person?
You could boil him, broil him.
There's something about his performance that just spoke to me in that way. Yeah. There's a certain, again, this is another one of those I should have wrote down the exact line, but Randolph, when they realize that Wade had undone the screw, Randolph picks up the screw and like
tries to put it on. Like, I think it's from here. Yep, it's definitely from here.
Yeah.
What is your plan?
We're losing time here, man. We get something's missing.
It was sawed off, and he's just like, okay, I'm not an expert, but I think this might have come from here. What? Yes, I noted that too.
Looks like a screw. Is a screw. Let's think about it.
Definitely came from here. Yep. The water's leaking. I can tell. Mm-hmm.
The water's spraying all over us, but let's get to the bottom of the screw right here. Yeah, and also thoroughly enjoyed the fact that they used the line "Free Willy." We got a free Willy, like the titular line of the film used in the movie, and that to me,
it's got to happen.
Whenever that happens in a movie, I go chicken or egg. Was that the script that gave birth to the name of the movie, or is it like, this is our movie name, work it in? We'll never know.
Very true.
Your thoughts? What do you think? Was it born of the
I
script?
always feel like it's a line that happens and they go, that's it. That's our title.
Bingo.
Right there.
Not the Willy
Show.
We don't have to call the movie The Willy Show. We got a better name.
In the running, but I think Free Willy.
Yeah. I think it's a better title. So then it becomes an escape plan. They got to get Willy out of there.
Yes.
Them getting Willy out of there,
terribly planned.
Terribly planned. It's running, I thought, fairly smoothly. Like removing a whale from this enclosure and getting him out of there. Like, it's not like things are really going wrong that I picked up on.
This is my issue.
Yes.
Jesse is leading the way. He's swimming he's diving into the water. He's getting the clips. So like, oh, good job, Jesse.
Yeah.
Really? You're just like, figure it out, man. Hopefully you get it.
We don't got it.
And
so
then he's like telling Randolph how far to back up and sitting with Willy on the trailer.
Again,
a lot of responsibility on this kid who up until recently did not seem to give a shit about what happened. I don't know. It just seems.
But so that even speaks to my point more. For a 12-year-old leading the way, this plan goes fairly smoothly.
So yes, if that is our standard, he's knocking it out of the park. I don't know why they're not just like
12-year-old me in charge of that.
So we're gonna take the lead here, Jesse. Why don't you sit in the back and
You're the kid.
We'll handle this.
We've worked with Kiko. We are adults. Let us handle.
Right.
No. Let the 12-year-old take over.
You spray him down. Give him a sponge bath. We'll take care of the rest.
Yeah.
Kid.
So when the escape plan is happening, I, of course, have to get into my nitpickery.
Please.
And I wonder, are we sure that truck can move this whale?
No.
So I go to the tape. They say Kiko, Willy, is 3.5 tons.
Yep.
Which is 7,000 pounds.
Correct.
And my understanding from my half-assed research, from my poor research, heavy-duty trucks can pull about 3,000 pounds. So that thing's not moving.
No, and also when they're like trying to reverse the trailer because the tree is down and it starts going off the edge of the cliff.
Yeah, no chance.
And Randolph's plan is to push this trailer. Are you Thor? What is your plan,
He's summoning
man?
the energy of her.
I just like it boggles my mind. Even as a kid, I'm just like, this seems like a bad idea. I don't think he's going to be able to push this trailer up. I don't know.
Again, it's nitpickery. We're beyond.
That's just stupid.
We're beyond a 12-year-old hatching an escape plan. But my umbrage is with the fact that truck is not going to pull that whale. No chance.
Probably not.
But again, there are times in this movie where I wonder why do they pick Michael Madsen? Like, why him? And it's this line that stuck out to me as the reason.
You're like, here it is. It paid off.
He walks into the scene. They're stuck. His truck has been stolen. They find Jesse. Michael Madsen's response to all that is happening is, "What the heck are you doing with my truck and this whale?" A perfectly delivered line that I enjoyed thoroughly. Well done to you, sir. Why you didn't get nominated for this, I don't understand.
He made it all worth it.
Yeah.
He's the good, grumpy foster dad that saves the day then.
Right.
When he drives through the gate at the end.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, guess what? He's bought into this. Right. He is ready to bring Willy to the free land.
Yeah.
I think he punches someone later.
Sure.
He's just
does.
Fully committed.
Well, and it's right at that scene with the "what the heck are you doing here with my truck and this whale?" It's at that moment that him and Jesse finally click. Because it's when he tells Jesse, like, let's do it. Let's get him out of here. And Jesse's fully in on Michael Madsen. And then, to your point, he puts the pedal to the metal and punches strangers.
Let's do this.
Yeah. He's all in. But again, another note, these Willy cries are killing me. Like, I'm at this point in the film, it's not even, you rewatch this, anyone, and you'll know which ones we're talking about. It's not just Willy making noise. There's a certain one like a
right.
It sounds like the Three Stooges.
It's
It's a specific one that you're like, you're really cutting into these serious scenes.
Prove us wrong. If someone can find a clip of a whale making that noise, I'm wrong.
I'm happy.
Maybe those were actual recordings.
Yeah.
I'm just saying every whale sound I've ever heard in my life is not close to that. Right. That is a comedic cry of some sort of animal, but not a whale.
It stands out. And it's at that point, the line that I started off this podcast, that this comes in, "We got to wet Willy down." And it made me wonder, was wet Willy coined the phrase from this feature film? Again,
I doubt it, but I'd like to think so.
I think lofty thoughts. I think happy thoughts.
Let's believe it. I think, yes. It started here.
Kiko, you get the credit for people sticking their wet fingers in other people's ears. A guy walks by as they are wetting their Willy down.
Yes.
Says,
"Nice whale.
Nice whale." I'm convinced that's Walter Matthau. It sounds just like him. I tried to find, is Walter Matthau in Free Willy? Because he has a very.
I thought he looked too thin.
I think you're right, but there was about 10 minutes where you couldn't have told me otherwise.
It is a funny moment of just like, oh, Hey, nice
Nice
looking
whale.
whale you got there.
And it kind of felt like one of those like Marvel movie Stan Lee like cameos
Right.
where like it was nothing and
Right.
you'd be like later on you'd figure out who that was. But yeah.
So they take the back roads because they want to stay out of
Right.
view, but then they have no problem going to a car wash and a gas station. Like maybe you shouldn't have tried to keep a low profile. Maybe just get this whale to the. And again, adults, this is when you got to take the charge, man. Why are we taking these crazy back roads up a mountain in the woods when just like, how about hop on the highway and just go straight there? Because Dial was waiting for you.
Dial.
You could have been there a little bit earlier.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
His plan is foiled.
Right.
But they're all waiting with crossed arms and henchmen. These people I've never seen before in my life. He just has people on speed dial that these like
henchmen. Beep.
Remember that whale I had? So people bust him out. Yeah, we're trying to cash in the insurance policy. All right. So just meet me here at this dock and look tough. Wear some
folded.
jeans and that's it.
Yeah.
See you there.
No, you don't need to know why. Just come.
And they did.
And it's at that point Michael Madsen floors it 2 times with Willy in tow.
You
Like
got
not
to.
just once. Like I'm all in.
And how fast are they going with this?
Well, they go in
3-ton
reverse
whale?
with the whale into the water. Like
That's true. And they crash in the water.
Yeah. I was waiting. There was a little part of me I was like, I know this isn't going to go a silly route, but there was just a part of me like when he reversed in the water so fast, I thought Willy was going to launch into the water. Like I was like, I don't know what to expect of what's about to come.
What's their top speed? Like 12 miles an hour?
Right. It looked faster.
It sounded fast.
It sounded fast. But another quality line in this movie that gave me a good laugh. All the henchmen are there. They're running up on the scene. That's when Thomas Mikowski yells to his fellow henchmen, "Don't let that whale get away." I just wanted to hear
What
one
are
of
they
them go,
supposed
"Yeah,
to
what
do?
are we know
Right.
we're running at him."
Right.
Guy.
What do you want me to do?
I'm not in swimsuits. I'm not in running attire. I'm in a members only jacket and jeans. Like I'm running as fast
Jump
as I can.
on him? Like poke him in the blowhole?
Yeah.
What?
It's not well thought out.
What is your technique?
Yeah.
I did find out several things about this movie and the others too. There were 2 animatronic robots as stand-ins for Kiko.
Okay.
And they looked so realistic to Kiko the real whale that he became sexually aroused.
Perfect. Yes. No notes.
This is also the only Free Willy film played by a real whale. The other sequels just strictly had animatronic whales.
Because at that point it just looked
Well, Kiko was in captivity. We
Also
don't want to
true.
release him, so
Yeah.
let's just keep him locked.
okay.
We don't want to bring
Let's not bring him
attention.
any more joy.
Yeah, we don't
in
want to
his
bring
life.
attention to the fact that
Yeah.
he is trapped.
Yeah.
I think that's all I have for
Yeah.
trivia.
Mm-hmm. That's a good one though. That everyone wants to
Sexually
know
aroused
when
by a
whales are
robot.
sexually aroused. Yeah. I did wonder. Now this could be me just looking away from the screen for a minute and missing something, but they box Willy in with the same strategy as they do in the beginning of the movie. They're slapping the water. They got their nets.
Mm-hmm.
But then Willy just makes like a slight left turn and gets out of there. Like I was trying to figure out what is like it. The henchman said he's trapped. There's nowhere for him to go. But then he just goes off to the side.
Well, like he's trapped in the harbor.
Okay. So, but he still has an out. So maybe.
Yeah, like he can't get out into the ocean.
Got it.
He's trapped in the little harbor area.
Got it.
Either way, they still have to catch him.
Yeah.
So it's not like we're good, guys.
Yeah.
Well, he's there.
Yeah.
I don't think you can cash in on your insurance policy if they're like, listen, he's in the harbor. He's at the bottom.
Yeah.
But like, he's there. Trust me. I don't know. Also, that leap over the rocks.
all CGI.
It is.
It was 100% CGI, and you watch it now and you can see.
Very
There's
CGI.
there's no question about it. Again,
And then when Jesse climbs the lighthouse to see Willy's family in the harbor, also bad CGI. Like
Yeah.
every time there is whales,
Yeah.
pretty poor
Yeah.
CGI, I would say.
another great line bore from this movie that I enjoyed. The Willy jumps over Jesse, clears him. He's
Yep.
off and running.
Yep.
Following that is the quote, "Randolph, you ever see him jump that high?" And his response to that is, "Things can happen."
That's right. They can. They can happen, Nick.
Things can happen, Randolph. That's your line. Like, this is probably one of the most important lines to deliver in this movie. And you've got like a Mad Libs
Right.
fill in anything here line. Things
I
can
think
happen.
this is a perfect segue to my 5-minute rant.
Okay, perfect.
So speaking of Mad Libs and just absolutely ruining what could have been a really important line.
Mm-hmm.
this song, Will You Be There?
Mm-hmm.
Pretty popular song.
Absolutely.
The opening lyrics, even as a child, I was like, I don't know that this makes sense. So I'm going to, have you looked at the lyrics?
No, this is great.
Hold me like the river Jordan,
Mm-hmm.
and I will then say to thee, you are my friend.
Okay. Starting off innocent.
How do you hold someone like a river? And if they're referring to Jesus was baptized
Mm-hmm.
in the Jordan River by John the Baptist, fine. I wasn't there.
Yeah.
I was told that this
I heard.
happened. I don't believe that the river held him.
Okay.
But again, wasn't there.
Okay.
If they're talking about John holding Jesus in the river, then why wasn't the lyric, hold me like John Baptist held Jesus when he baptized him in the river Jordan? And then I will then say to thee, you are my friend.
That's not doesn't have the hook to it. Like
It doesn't. It doesn't flow. I'll admit that. It just seems
Okay.
It sounds like you needed a certain amount of syllables to make it
Yes.
work.
Yeah.
So let's just throw them in. So I came up with some other lyrics
Okay.
that have similar syllables. You tell me if this sounds any better. Apples contain antioxidants, whether they're red and green. You are my friend. Pickles inside of a football, smothered in cow poop. You are my friend. Sasquatch has great dental hygiene. He speaks 13 languages. You are my friend. Those are all equally as nonsensical.
Yeah.
And the rest of the song makes perfect sense where he's talking about like, hold me like a brother, like a mother. That makes sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
Not like a river. He doesn't refer to that at any point ever again.
Okay.
He knocks it out of the park. And you got the choir
Mm-hmm.
and it's uplifting. And I remember hearing this song and being like really moved.
Yeah.
Like this was a bumping tune.
Mm-hmm.
But the first part where it's quiet
Yeah.
and you're like looking to lead people in, hold me like a river. I can't.
Just
I can't.
you can't hang your hat on that.
I can't get past it.
Sorry, Mike. Listen,
Redo. Do over.
this movie had me the whole way until I heard
until that line.
Yeah. And then just to bookmark the actual movie itself.
Please.
Dial and gives us the final great line of God, I hate that whale.
Yeah.
Um,
Good bad guy though, that Dial.
he is. You know,
You
what?
don't like him.
Yeah, you don't like him. You didn't get Jack Nicholson, but you got.
He
you
wears
got
a
Dial.
robe.
Yeah.
He plays like the bad guy. Convertible robe.
Yeah.
Sleazy haircut.
Mhm. And I just said, you know, Dial, you could have made $1 million off of him. You don't hate him. You're just disappointed. You're not mad.
Yeah.
You're disappointed. Like any good father. You're
Right.
not-
I'm not mad.
yeah.
Just-
I'm just disappointed. Yeah.
This might be a good segue too into your favorite segment. Dead or alive.
Perfect.
Are you
my
ready?
record is 2 for 13.
No, I think you're doing pretty well. I think you're going to do good today.
Okay.
All right. So Dial. Michael Ironside is his name.
Mm-hmm.
Is
Guy
he-
from Starship Trooper and Total Recall is still alive.
That is correct. He is still alive. Good
Thank
for
you, Dial.
All right. Randolph.
Mm-hmm.
August Schellenberg.
He has passed.
He has passed. I'm sorry.
Rest in peace, Randall.
In 2013 at the ripe old age of 77.
Okay.
Richard Riley. Wade. Also Tom from Office Space.
He's a
Had some heart issues in Office Space.
that's a character. He's alive.
But jumped to conclusions, Matt. So
He's alive.
He is alive.
Yes.
And then is it Mykelti Williamson? Dwight, aka Bubba
Oh,
from
he's
Forrest
alive.
Gump? Is he, Nick?
He's alive.
He's
He's
alive.
alive. Thank you. Finally, a 4 for 4.
I love how Percy is like, no,
Don't do this to me.
don't say
Don't now
that.
tell me Bubba has passed.
So I think that maybe one episode I'll have to have where everyone's alive
Yeah.
and just try and throw you
Yeah.
off this
Yeah.
every time.
And there's gonna be one you're gonna do where they're all dead, and I'm just gonna quit. This.
Oh yeah.
this
Well, I
one.
hope not, because
Yeah.
this is everyone's favorite segment. Nick. Well done.
thank you.
See, look at you
Well,
being so
listen,
hard on yourself. Come on.
I think you're taking it easy on me. I think you've seen the error of my ways. And,
no. I mean, I'm literally scrolling through like, all right, someone else has got to be dead, and they weren't. Just
well,
Randolph.
but Kiko, we did touch on Kiko.
But you knew about that.
Right. So jumping into some trivia and facts, we already kind of touched on some of these, but this one stood out to me as just a funny bit of trivia. Jesse's harmonica playing was dubbed in post production because the reeds inside were disabled to prevent Jason from distracting the cast and crew if he were to play it.
Yes.
I just wrote, what a bizarre choice. Like, is that really throwing the whole cast and crew off by him playing a harmonica for like 3 scenes?
I don't know. And plus, like, so he's just blowing into it then.
Like, he's not like ripping into the thing. He's just playing a little tune.
Right.
Again, it just felt like for all the other choices made in this movie, let him play the harmonica. Let him play it.
Maybe he's good. You don't even know.
Right. But I made a note earlier about Jesse reminding me of Sean Astin in The Goonies.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot, I feel like, maybe unintentional. The Goonies is set in Oregon. Free Willy's set in Oregon. The main character looks like the main character from Goonies. The harmonica, along with the orca statue and baseball, are displayed at the Oregon Film Museum, which is known for appearing in the Goonies during their escape scene. There's a lot of Goonies connections. He, in Goonies, he says there's the pirate that he finds in the ship later. He's One-Eyed Willy.
Right. Oh.
Willy. Like, listen, again, I may be Charlie Day connecting all the random theories with string, but I just felt a lot of Goonies connections with this movie.
Kitten Mittens.
Kitten Mittens, it's all there.
Chunk. I mean, Free Willy could be Chunk.
I'm saying.
Truffle Shuffle.
I'm just saying.
There's so many things.
There's things there, okay? We could get the crossover between the two. And then the soundtrack, Michael Jackson, and also New Kids on the Block, SWV. Like, this is a 90s, packed punch of a soundtrack. Problematic things with this movie. Yeah, I think we touched on it. Whale torture, not great.
Yeah. No, not.
But everything else kind of, I didn't, that was probably the thing that stood out to me the most is, if this movie talking about whales not being treated well, and you also in a movie were not treating a whale well. So
I do have another question.
Sure.
So Perry comes to the aquarium smoking, to your point. He says that he's business partners with someone and wants Jesse to join them.
Sure.
They're going to Sacramento, then LA. Then he hands him a postcard.
San
and
Diego.
It's a Venice postcard with 2 women in bikinis roller skating. And he's like, join me. What is their business?
And where are you actually going? Like, it seems like you're all over California.
And I'm looking on, I looked on a map to see if that made sense. So they're in Oregon, they go to Sacramento, then LA, Venice. Okay, so that does check out.
Okay.
Like, they're continuing south.
Yeah.
What is their business, though? Hey, here's where we're staying.
Come find me. If
so
you got
these
the
are
guts.
women like holding their legs up in the air on roller skates and they're in bikinis. Yeah, idiot.
Come.
You want in on this or not?
Don't ask questions.
Oh, you don't?
Yeah.
When you get the nerve, call me.
Yeah, when you get the nerve,
guts or so or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
Like, what? You're a terrible salesman. I have no faith in you whatsoever.
Less is more.
I don't know
Less is more.
what you're planning on doing. I don't know your business is, but I am not sold on
you're
this
not sold on this,
whatsoever.
no. Free Willy in general, though, I wrote down, some solid one-liners.
Yep.
Good bad guy.
Yep.
Not overly goofy, which again,
if anything, they lean the other direction hard.
Yeah. And it put eyes on a good cause, I think. I think it got a lot of people. You know what? Maybe there was.
I like my wheels locked up. Thank you.
Listen, I think they went cerebral with this. I think this was threefold. It was a movie talking about whales and how they're treated in a situation like this. And the movie itself treated those whales poorly.
Correct.
Because they knew that that's the best way to get eyes on this movie. The issue itself and the way they're actually treating the whale in the movie. I think
it's Inception. This
Whaleception.
Oh my God.
Well, kudos to you all because you did it.
Wow.
Success to you and not to SeaWorld.
You got to plant the seed in a dream.
Layers.
Oh.
Layers. And also, this movie absolutely crushed at the box office. So, I didn't. Done. In all fairness, I kind of went in thinking, "Oh, there's going to be some goof in it." It was good.
So this tagline I saw, and I put this down as my most favorite scene because unlike the trailer that we just watched, which just basically shows every clip from the movie, this is like the perfect description. I feel like a 12-year-old street kid, a 3-ton orca whale. A friendship you could never imagine, an adventure you'll never forget. Sold.
Yeah.
Whoever wrote that, well done.
That's
I'm in.
Yeah, that's the selling
Let's
point.
watch this movie.
If I if I have any bad notes, if I have any things to say about the movie that are maybe not great, I just initially was blown away that this movie spawned 3 more sequels or 3 more movies. So I went through what were these movies even about? Free Willy 2, The Adventure Home. In this sequel, Jesse is now a teenager living with his parents, adoptive parents, when his half-brother Elvis shows up on the heels of their birth mother's death. Rough name. When Jesse learns that an oil spill is threatening his old friend Willy, the orca, he enlists his crush, Nadine, and Elvis in an attempt to save the friendly whale from the spill and the greedy businessman. Okay. So I'll give you 1.
That seems like an all right plot.
Fine.
So you're out in the open ocean now.
They're older.
Oil spill. Okay. Can you just avoid the oil spill? Whatever. That's neither here nor there.
Free Willy 3, The Rescue. We've already rescued him twice.
Right.
So in the third Free Willy, Jesse, again, is 16 and employed aboard a research ship along with his old friend and mentor Randolph. He's come back.
Okay.
After Jesse meets Max, the disapproving son of a whaler, hoping to catch Willy, the orca, for his meat, the 2 team with oceanographer Drew to stop the whalers before they can get to Willy and the rest of his pod and convince them to give up their cruel and illegal practice. So each movie, the first movie, the treatment of whales. Second movie, oil spills.
Yep.
Third movie,
whaling ship,
illegal practice. Like, they're not afraid to go towards political issues.
No.
But again, they had Jesse for all 3.
Yep.
Not for the 4th one though, which is Free
4's too
Willy,
many.
Escape from Pirates Cove. I will say
that sounds awfully, to your point, that sounds very Goonie-ish.
This one's definitely Goonie-ish. But the main character, Kira, is Bindi Irwin.
Oh.
Daughter of Steve Irwin. So that to me was like, that alone I'd give this movie a chance just to see.
Okay.
But Kira discovers a baby orca stranded in the lagoon near her grandfather's rundown seaside amusement park. She embarks on a quest to lead Willy back to his pod. So there's 4 movies and then a TV series as well. So again, it did well. It gave you everything you wanted and evidently more.
Yeah.
So I think 70% is solid. I think this movie was a nice break from the silliness of other movies. Like you said, it's like it feels like one of these 90s dramatic kids movies that stands out amongst.
I can't think
silliness.
of many more kids movies that are like just straight up serious topic.
Multiple serious topics.
Yeah. It's not a funny premise.
No. Not at all.
Like, get this, kids. A whale. We're going to lock them up in an aquarium.
Whales, you know those things you love? Ooh, do they get treated poorly? Oh, and you know how you have parents? You could just not have those either. Let's go watch. 2 hours.
This is why I was crying, Nick.
Kid me like this movie. Adult me like this movie.
Yeah.
I enjoyed.
I will say, and when you told me it was like an hour 51 or whatever, I'm like, ugh.
Yeah, that's rough.
But watching it, I did enjoy it. There are some goofy moments, like Randall trying to put on the sawed-off bolt or whatever.
Sure.
But in general, I'm in.
Yeah.
Sold.
I'm with you, Raj. 3.5 out of 4 stars, 7%. All right.
Maybe
Enjoyable.
dial down the whale crying a little bit. I could bump that up a little bit more. Close like a 3.8.
Thank you for listening. Please follow, rate, review, like, and subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, Stitcher, and anywhere else you listen to podcasts. Tune in next week when we review another cinematic masterpiece from our childhood. Until then, hold me, like the River Jordan, and I will then say to thee, you are my friend.